lesson is going to be on geometry. It'll be a new chapter, chapter 19. If you open your books to page 450, we have some what they call basic geometric geometry ideas. And on page 450, they go through a bunch of them. I'm just going to point out a few of them and then show you how to label them. So when you do your assignment today, you have an idea of how to do it. On that page, you see a point. What that is, just an exact location on a line, a ray, an angle, a lot of different things, just an exact location. And we use a capital letter, here it's capitalized, to name a point. Then there's a line, which we'll demonstrate here in a little bit. The straight path has no endpoints on it. We'll talk about what endpoints are in a little bit. To name a line, we use 2 points on that line. Usually the ones that we see at the beginning and the end. There could be other letters in between, doesn't matter. But we need 2 of the points on that line. Then there's a ray, which we'll point out. It will have 1 endpoint, and then it goes on in one direction. And we'll show you how to do that. Again, all our labels are with capital letters. And then there are segments or line segments that has 2 endpoints. And there's a definite length to it. It doesn't go on and on and on. It begins at a certain point and ends at another point. And we'll show you how to label that. And toward the end of the video, we'll go into what are polygons and then the different names of the polygons as are found on 451. So that is what we're going to be working on today. Basic geometry ideas and trying to explain some of these and how to label them. First of all, number 1 is just a point. It's a point on a line. Look at number 2, the point would be E and point F. Number 3 has point Y and point Z. Just exact locations on a point. If you see this on your paper, how do we label that? We label that as either, we write it out, point P, or with a point on top of it. Okay, this is labeling it with words. This is labeling it using symbols, the symbol being the point. Okay, number 2 has 2 points on it, has 2 endpoints. This is an endpoint because it stops there. This is an endpoint. It stops there. The segment has a definite beginning and a definite end. That is a segment. How do we label that? With words, we write segment E F. That's with words. I like to use symbols. So now I'm going to use that symbol. Doesn't matter how long it is. We just make it a certain length so that we can put the capital letters below it. The letters do not have to be written below the dots. It just has to be below this line. This is our symbol. That was our symbol in that one. So when I say on your sheet, label it using symbols, I'm looking at this and that. E, F, point B, using that symbol. Number 3, a different shape. What is that shape inside my rectangle? It has 2 points on it, point Y and point Z, but it doesn't look like number 2. Number 2 had 2 endpoints, point E and point F. This one has an arrow and it's going on in one direction. We call that a ray. One side goes on and on. How do we label that? Well, first in words, we write ray, and we begin with the endpoint. Y has the endpoint. There's no arrow there. So we're going to use that, and then we're going to go to Z. Ray, Y, Z. Different than number 2, different than number 1. How do we do it with symbols? We always go right to the right side, so from left to right, because we are Americans. We're not Hindu, we're not Mexicans, we're not Canadians, we're not Europeans, we're not Nigerians or Ethiopians or any of the other countries. We're Americans. In America, we write from left to right. We got to put capital letters underneath our symbol. Not a very good arrow there. Sorry about that. Well, it's Ray YZ, so we need to put Y first and then Z. Here is our symbol. So this is labeling it with the symbol, this is labeling the symbol, and this is labeling with the symbol. So on your worksheet, when they say label with the symbol, we're going to put the symbol, point, and then a capital letter below it, P. If it's a segment, we're going to put an endpoint, two capital letters, EF for number 2, and number 3, we're going to use a ray symbol. So I'm just kind of going over it to kind of so you guys can get it. There's my symbol, and then capital letters. Array, it doesn't matter what letter comes first. It needs to be the end point. And moving on. Number 4. It's got 2 points on it, A and B, but I'm looking at the end. There's no end points. There are arrows. So it's different than a segment. This would be called a line. And the points on it are A and B. But if I want to label it with symbols, okay, now I'm going to use the line symbol. No endpoints on it. I can put some points on it there, but I need to show it's a line, so I put arrows and then capital letters below it. They don't need to be below the dots. That doesn't matter. It just has to be below this symbol. So this is how you would write it with symbols. Number 5, you'll have one of these on your sheet. Notice it's a ray, but it's going from right to left. It's going backwards. So it's a ray, but we always must begin with the end point. So it's ray G, D, not D, G. We can go start with the end point. The end point is G. Now, I'm going to label it. I'm still going to go left to right. That's the way we label. Even though over here it's written this way, we're going to write it from left to right. And it's ray G, D. That's how we would do it. That's a little tricky because it's written backwards on the worksheet. Number 6 is really written vertically up and down. It has a point K and a point H. It's got the arrows though, so it's not a segment. It's not a ray, but there's 2 arrows. It is a line. It is line KH. 2 of the points on there to label it. But we want to use the symbols. So I'm going to use the line symbol and put K and H. And again, I don't have to put the letters underneath the points. I do need to use capital letters. That is how you would do that symbol. So labeling, here's the first one, a point. Here's the symbol. 2, the symbol on the left and the right. 3, the ray. 4 is a line. I'll do a symbol. 5 is a ray. And 6 is a line. Now, how do we go and label these from a figure? Your worksheet today will have this. How do I name 3 points? Well, here's a point. Here's a point. And here's a point. So, my label. Here's my symbol. Point X. Point Y. And point Z. Hopefully you can see that in the diagram. That's how we would label them. Name 3 segments. Here's my symbol for a segment. So I'm going to draw 3 of them. Here's my points for a segment. First segment, X, Y. See it here? X, Y. Next segment, X, Z. Right here. And my last one is Y, Z. So I picked endpoints. Then I have segment from point to point. I can also do a ray, but I need an endpoint of X. So I'm going to draw a ray, left to right, X is my endpoint. So both of them I'm going to write X. I need to have X. Well, there's X, Z, that's one ray, and I got to start at X. There's my other one, X, Y. Capital letters beginning with the X. Now, 3 lines. Okay, I need to use my symbol. I'm going to draw 3 of them. One more. Okay. I see line X, Z right here. I see line X, Y going across. And then the final one, Y, Z. Getting a little sloppy, but I got to keep going with my time. Polygon. On the bottom of your sheet today, you're going to have to label polygon, yes or no. 1, must be a closed figure. It cannot be open in any way. 2, must have straight sides. Can't be curved or circled. And 3, no lines may cross over. Is this one a polygon? The answer is yes. Closed, all the way around, straight sides, no lines crossing over. Is this one? No. There's an opening there. Can't be. No. This one? No, because it crosses over right there. Can't have that. That's a no. And this one is a no, because it's a circle. Finally, on your paper, page 451 has these names of these polygons. My time is almost up, so make sure you look at them. They all have straight sides. Square is a quadrilateral. Triangle, 3 sides. Hexagon, 6. Decagon. That one has exactly 10. Pentagon, 5. Heptagon, 7. Octagon, 8. And nonagon, 9. You'll label those on the back side of your sheet. Different polygons. They all have straight sides, no openings, no closed. One last thing, if the computer lets me, might shut me off, but here's a line, arrow, arrow, line, segment, endpoint, endpoint, ray for review, endpoint, and an arrow, only going one direction. Tomorrow, we're going to get into angles. There's the endpoint. 2 rays with the same endpoint. This endpoint right here is called a vertex. But we'll get into that tomorrow. Review the video, went kind of fast. Hopefully it works and helps you out